Hello everyone, today's tutorial I'm going to be looking at the room unlock animation that we're going to create. So this will be the transition screen. Once you've completed one of your escape rooms and you're going into the next one, you're going to have a screen which will sort of wipe across, and then it will transition you from one room to the next. So it's like almost loading the next level. This will work in two sort of ways. Not only does it give the user a visual sort of clue that they've succeeded, but also what it will do is it helps the user to it gives us a chance to sort of hide what's happening in the background, so that the fact that one level is going to the next and disappearing, so one background disappears, another one will appear whilst this sort of covers. It's almost like the curtains in a theatre when they come up, and then in the background something's happening, the set's changing, and then you open again and it's changed. So that's the purpose of us creating this. What I want to do is just show you the assets that I've created in Inkscape, and then we're going to take them into OpenToonz. And yeah, start animating with them. Really is going to be something basic. So a very simple screen. So I've gone for this sort of grayish black background. I'll talk you through it. So what I'm going to do for these tutorials, and for the artistic ones anyway, being that they're going to be different to what you guys create, I think what's best is just I show you my process, explain it, rather than you clicking and following along, so that you know what to do and you can interpret them yourself and make your own content that suits yours. So what I did first was get some inspiration. So I just typed in unlock animations and so on, and I'm going to combine a few. So I like this kind of, I mean, this is locking. There's one that spins. This one's the one I probably like the most. I don't like the shape or anything, but I like this sort of lock with this little animation where it bounces a little bit up and down. And I do like these particles that come out when the lock turns, and you get little particles. So what I'm probably gonna combine some of these to create my own sort of thing. Okay, and I'll do that as we go. So here we have it, my sort of very basic screen that's going to pop up. Obviously we could put stuff in the corners and so on, maybe to tidy it up, like might do some of that in a minute on the background layer. But let's talk you through the layers that I've got here. So I've got background, which is locked at the moment. So this is my background layer, which is just the solid color. I've got my locking pin, which is the pin at the top, because I'm going to animate that. So I need a separate asset. I've got my three, what I'm calling particles, but three things that will shapes that are going to appear from behind and animate once the lock has come off. So first, this lock's going to unlock. It's going to pop up and have a bit of an animation where it bounces a little bit. And then the particles will appear from behind. You've got the lock itself, which is simply a rounded square. So once you produce a square, you get these little circles in the corner. But you can either have a solid square, so you don't want any corners, or you can drag them down and make your corners more rounded. That's what I've done essentially here, and I held Control to make sure I had a perfect square. And then this is just a circle, and this is a warped circle that I've scaled in the same color as the background. Okay, so it looks like it's hollow, but obviously it's just shapes on top of it. And let's put text on top. You can obviously add to that if you so wish. So I used, when I drew this locking pin, I used my Bezier line tool here. And you can obviously draw lines quite straightforward if you want to, like so. Right click to accept them. Get your lines. I've got two lines that I've drawn there. You can change the stroke color to white. You can change the stroke width to be anything you like. So for here, I've done these at like 2. These are 2, sorry, these are 0.2. And I could do things like this in the corner if I want. If you want to create a curved line, you need the Bezier tool. You need to click and hold. So if I click and hold and drag, that makes this. I can hold Control as well if I want it to be nice and flat, and then click and hold again. You get the idea. So I can create something like that, which I quite like. I might play around with these, put something in the corner. Don't like that. Group those two lines together. So what I can do, Control Paste. Let's pop that in the bottom right corner. Click it again, and it will give me my rotate tool. Whoops. Let's do that. Let's do that. Pop that there. Okay, sometimes it's quite nice to just leave it in the two corners. I might see what it looks like if I do copy and paste. So I'm just, as we go, I'm just creating content, like nothing too amazing, obviously, but just to sort of finish it off. There you go. I'll flip that, and let's wiggle that down and across a little bit. Move that there, move that one back a couple, and then we could do the same in this corner. So if I control paste, let's move it down so it's in line with it. Let's rotate it, click and drag. I'm holding control, something like that. It's fine. Okay, just finishes off. So this is what the final scene is going to look like. Let's just make sure those are on the correct layer, because now, as we've done before when we've exported assets, we're going to export each asset separately. So let's just make sure it's on my background layer, which it is. And what I'm going to do is turn off all my layers, and I'm going to export them one at a time so that I can then collate it all together in OpenToonz and animate the bits that I want to. So I've got my layer here. Remember, obviously, to keep saving. I'm a nightmare for doing that when it comes to this program, because it hasn't got an auto save. Let's call that lock screen. Let's call it lock assets, because this isn't actually my animation. I'm going to make another scene in OpenToonz. Sorry. So I've got my background. Let's go File, Export PNG, which is what I want. I'm going to export the whole page actually, although it's random that it's coming out of this size. So let's export my selection. I just want to double check my document. 1024.576 was my choice size image. It's interesting the settings I'm getting here. Thank you, James, for that. Right, let's see why I'm getting 17. Anyhow, right, I can change it to 72. Actually, let's change 1024. I'm just going to double check what sizes. What sizes am I getting for my? There we go. What sizes am I getting for my? 1024.576. Yeah, I am getting the size I wanted. Okay, so remember, you can choose the name as export as, desktop, point and click, lock screen. Right, let's call that 01. I'll call it. I'm going to number them first. It might make my life easier for collating, just layering them when I make my layers in OpenToonz. So 01 lockdown, and remember, this is what I keep forgetting, is to hit export once you're done. That exports that asset. Let's just quickly have a look at point and click, lock screen. Did that work? Okay, yeah, got my background there. That's nice. Came out pretty well. Now I can go through. That's my lock pin. Okay, so we can't see my lock pin because it's white on a white background. But if I export, let's click highlight, export PNG as it is. Export as. You would hope it would have remembered, but it didn't. Point and click, lock screen. Okay, and let's call that 02 lock pin. Don't know why I put lockdown, by the way, as the name. Lockdown's obviously been in my head, but press export. I meant background. Lockdown works though. I know what I meant. Right, particle 1. So we've got selection here. This is going to get tedious. I was hoping it might remember. Point and click. Okay, lock screen. And I'll tell you what I'll do here. Copy text as a copy address as text. Did I do it? Edit address, copy. Right, there you go. Let's do it. Right, so 3 particle 01. Export, mustn't forget. Okay, Let's go to 2. I'm going to make sure it's selected. Let's cheat very quickly. Export as. Yeah, that worked in there. So let's call it particle 2. So I copy and pasted the link that I saved there, just saved me a little bit of time. And I want to change that to 04, and that's particle 2. Make sure I press export. Those of you that have seen the other videos have noticed when I've done this before, I probably shouted at the screen where I've forgotten to press export. Very easily done. And export. 5. That's particle 3. So remember, we're just exporting these all out separately so that we can collate them all together when we come to make our final scene in OpenToonz. Right, so we've got the lock itself, which at the moment we can only see the center, but if I Control A to highlight everything, you can see we've got the whole lock. Copy and paste that, export as, call it 06 lock, hit export, and then last but not least, my text layer, which is white so I can't see it, export, copy and paste. Ah, that's annoying. I accidentally pressed Control C at that point. We've all done that. We accidentally copy the text that you were trying to paste over. Right, there you go. Text. Export. Excellent. Okay, so I've exported everything out. I can save that. Let's turn everything back on. If I have any problems with any of it not coming in, I know I can always come back into my OpenToonz file or lock assets file and re-export it out. So essentially what I'm going to do is hide these behind here, make them look like they're appearing out when this lock mechanism will open. I might even give it a bit of a rotate doesn't work. I've seen some of the animations where they sort of swing round and things like that, which is okay, but all I'm really looking for it to do is move up so you very visually tell that it's unlocked, and I'll make a small animation that sort of where this bounces a little bit to make it look a bit clearer, and these particles come out from below. So we might even make this text appear. So we'll see what we do in the next part when we go into OpenToonz. So I'm just going to pause my video and open OpenToonz. Okay, so now I'm in OpenToonz. I've collated them together. I've been doing a little work in here just to sort of play around with it, make sure what I was intending on doing would work. So let's just explain. So I've brought everything in on separate layers. Let's explain how far I've got, and then we can finish the last bit off together, okay? So if I play the animation, that's what I've got so far, okay? So if we have a look at that piece by piece, so here we've got the lock bit that goes up and down. So again, let's just watch what happens in this layer. So we've got our lock moving up, and then the lock pin is moving up. Now all I've done there is set a keyframe here, as you can see, with my animate tool position. I've set a keyframe, and then I've then this end frame here, you can see I've moved the position upwards, which is useful to show the pin has moved. Now the same sort of thing applies with the lock itself, the base bit. I've got it moving up, down, up, and that's about it. Okay, so that I'll show you. Look at the locking body. You've got the lock here that starts, it goes up, and then it comes back down here. So it goes up. Sorry, it starts down, goes up, comes back down, and I've tried to get the pin to follow that sort of movement. It's just like showing it in movement and so on. So what we've got to do after that is show, obviously we've got this animation coming up, is reveal the text. Now what we'll probably do is time that a little bit differently together, and also we'll have a look at some of the particles that, well, as I'm calling them, but the little shapes and things, just to show a bit of significant change. So what I've done here to reveal the text, so I've got text in this layer and I've got a box in this layer. Okay, the box is you can't actually see it, but it's the same color as the background. And what I've done is start it over the top of the text. Okay, so the position of this box is over the top of the text, so the text becomes invisible. So I don't want it to reveal straight away. So I've said at this frame, I want it to start frame 25, I want it to start moving. And if you watch what happens, as the lock comes up, the text starts to reveal. That's only happening because that box, as you can see at the bottom of the screen, is moving downwards. Okay, so it's like sliding across to reveal. So like pulling back the curtain and revealing what's underneath, sort of thing. Okay, so that's my little cheat for that one. Now I might have to retime that in a minute. So if I I've got to sort some timing out that I'll do with you. I'd probably have that happen just after the animation. Okay, so what I might do is move these, move them down a little bit so that the animation actually starts a little bit later. You can extend that square to there. I was going to do it with matte sort of masking opacities because they call masking matte, and you've got your effects layers that you can add. Actually, where is the effects layers in here? The toggle FX. So there's my effects layer, and then I can add a new effects. Yeah, and then you've got matte in, matte out. Okay, so like matte out would be fine. So you can use that to change basically like a matte layer would you could draw any shape and then it will hide that little part. It will create like a mask over that part that you've drawn the shape inside of. I was thinking about doing that and then animating the matte, but I just figured actually a box will work just the same, a box animated. So let's have a quick look at how the timing works. Yeah, and then this sort of room unlock. This is only, like I said, a transition scene. It takes 3 or 4 seconds, and then we're going to load on new screen. So this will like wipe off the screen, or the opacity will change, or whatever. So let's then have a look at these particle effects. So at the moment, I've got 2 lots coming out. I might add a 3rd lot just in here. Now let's show you how I added them. So I've got. I drew 3 shapes. You saw me export them. At the moment, I've duplicated those once. Now, what I'm going to do is come to the last column here, insert after to make a blank column, do it again, do it again. So I've got 3 new columns here, yeah? What I want to do is copy and paste the particles here. So Control C, once I've highlighted them all. I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to Control V. Copy and paste. Now you'll notice the keyframes haven't come across. Okay, so I need to press Z to make a keyframe for each to say yes, start in the middle. I'm going to come to the end and create a keyframe Z, 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 or if you don't want to press Z, you can right click, insert keyframe, and then I can move these so I can see roughly here what I've got going on. So I can see some spaces that I want to create stuff in. So let's have a look. Move that one there. Might move that one there, and I'll move that one. Let's move this one here. Okay, the chances are we'll probably end up doing this again anyway, but I might actually move that one out of the way a little bit. And let's move that one to there. And then we'll repeat that. So if we come here, like I did before, insert after, insert after, insert after. Now, there are far simpler ways of doing this in things like After Effects and so on, but we're replicating a sort of particle emitter in a really sort of crude, basic way, but by doing it by hand. But nevertheless, it still does a job based on those earlier examples I showed you. Oops, I don't want to change the first one. I want to change the last one. So I'm just going to move that to sort of there. It's got a smiley face, my circle at the moment. When I'm zoomed up, there you go. And then we put one there. I can put one sort of there. I might duplicate a couple more just to sort of dot around. So I might do this one more time. So I can Control C. Let's insert after. Do the same thing again. So we're going to put 3 new columns in again. So we're just duplicating these particle layers every time. Control V. We mustn't forget that we need to do our keyframes Z, or like I said before, you can right click, come down, you can right click, there you go. Where is it? Insert keyframe. Not sure why it's not coming up there. Well, anyway, just press Z, brings up your set key anyway. So set key, there it is, Z there. So it was on there. I was just having a quick look at what I was doing. So let's put a shape there. Let's put a shape here. So we're just spacing them out a little bit so that they look like they're moving at different speeds. And let's move that one there. See what we're rocking with. Quite happy with that. That will do for what I'm trying to achieve. It just creates a bit of, not magic, but you know, it gives a visual key that that's going on. And what I might do is just move this one a fraction down so that now when I'm here, yeah, that works. The text isn't revealing until after all these particles, and these particles will just disappear. What I would normally like to do actually is make them look like they're slowly disappearing, so change the opacity from 100% to 0%. Now actually trying to animate the opacity has been a bit of a headache because I can change the opacity of a layer, as I've found out. So if I like click in here, I can choose to change the opacity here, but I don't seem to be able to allocate that as a keyframe, so I'm not too worried. They're just going to disappear. But let's play it through, see what we've got, see if we're happy with that, and then if we are happy, we can export. So let's have a look at what we've got. Let's click off the screen. So if I hit the play button here, lock opens, come out, room unlocked. Let's see if that room unlock comes at the right time. Okay, these ones up here. We'll just have a look at that again one more time. I mean, it's not too bad. Okay, it's not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but it's quite nice to transition scene. So this will just pop up to let you know, well done, you've completed that last screen. You've unlocked the next room. We're going to move on to the next one. So it's important that we save the scene. Obviously, when you set it up, you probably did set up sort of a directory to where it was going to save and so on, which is good. We also need to make sure we're saving it in the correct locations. So you've got all these options available to you. Let's just have a look at some. Let's have a look at some of those now. So if I want to output my animation, let's just have a quick look. So we'd be looking at render. So if you want to save, you can save as and so on. You wouldn't use export in this program because it just export the video and things. But within OpenToonz, you can change your output settings. I've got my size here, which is fine, so I will keep that. The output from camera is fine because the camera is the flat on. That's what I've been doing. Let's choose. I don't want to output it to outputs here. I'm going to output it to lock screen. That's fine. Choose that. I don't want to output as a TIFF either. I will output probably as a .mov. I'm going to output as a video file, which is fine. There goes a pop-up, frames per second. I'll change it to 24. I'll change it to best. That's fine. Let's go. Okay, standard 8-bit. I'm okay with all that. We'll see what .mov's like anyway. That's just going to play the short video on loop for us. So let's press render. I could save it as a GIF if I really wanted or anything like that, but I think just for importing it, that will work fine. So it seems to have done the job. Let's just see locking screen. Let's play it in VLC. Just make sure VLC normally looks a bit buggy when it, yeah, it's a bit grainy. Probably is just the compression, to be fair, with the VLC. So let's open with QuickTime. See how that looks. I think this looks a bit smoother already. Okay, cool. I mean, I could have had the room unlocked a bit earlier, but that's what I want the image to last as. So it doesn't matter how many seconds this frame is on the screen for. It's very clear the room's unlocked. So this animation is going to pop up quickly after you've completed the room, and all it's meant to do is, like I say, cause a transition between you moving from one room to the next. So that's our tutorial. Hopefully it was fairly clear and straightforward for you. And yeah, I look forward to seeing your stuff. Hopefully I'm going to get this game finished with you. Cheers. Bye.